This is the Uptick Newswire Stock Day podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews, public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world, with your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, I'm bringing back a returning guest. He was on my show back in January of this year, 2019. We're talking no other than CytoDyn, Inc. To me, they're going to be one of the fastest growing companies in 2019, but that's my personal opinion. You can find them on the OTCQB under the ticker symbol CYDY. And with us today is the president, director, and CEO of the company, Dr. Nader Pourhassan. Dr. Nader, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me again.
Seeking Alpha author Terry Chris O'Malley recently picked CYDY to be one of the best performing stocks for 2019. I was wanting to know, did you have any comments on that?
Yes, he's not the only person. There are many people that, they wonder what happens when a company hits their primary endpoint. Excuse me. Some of the analysts at Wall Street talked to me, and they all thought that the stock would, get the correct evaluation. But when you're held hostage in OTCB, you just don't get the value that you need to get. We have talked to a lot of institutions who have indicated for us to please upgrade your exchange so we can participate in purchasing your shares. Our company is tremendously undervalued, in my opinion, because of the fact that we hit a primary endpoint. We met with FDA. FDA recognized that we have the right data to submit the BLA. Then we attack monotherapy. The world of HIV, we always said there would be HIV paradigm shift if this monotherapy pans out to have a high responders rate. That happened. The analysts from Gilead, the biggest pharma in the world of HIV, indicated if this little company has success with monotherapy, there will be huge pushback on a $12 billion, $12 billion empire of Gilead sales every year. And we got the higher responders rate of close to 90%. We announced that. Then we were shocked that we have indication in graft versus host disease. We got a phase 2. We eliminated graft versus host disease from mice model, and we went immediately to human study. FDA gave us orphan drug designation. Then we realized the product has indications in breast cancer and maybe in all the cancers, stopping the metastasis. The discovery that happened at Dr. Richard Pestel, world-renowned oncologist, came to us, says that your product has tremendous potential application in all cancers. He discovered that the metastasis, the killing of cancer, happens through HIV pathway. This is a revolution in the world of cancer if we're able to show the data from human study. Well, it happens that another similar product that has toxicity and side effects, so it can't do what we can, showed in the same mouse model that ours is going to be used, that the metastasis was stopped. Then the German group, they put that in human, and it eliminated cancer metastasis. We compared ourselves in an in vitro study, and our results were great. FDA again gave us green light to do phase 1B-2, which is incredible. So when you have all these things, and you're about to submit your final application for your first approval that could give you $500 million worth of revenue in 2020, how could you be sitting in these numbers? So I do agree with Mr. Terry Chris O'Malley that this should be the stock pick of 2019.
Recently, you put out a press release here in early February about some patients, about some updates. I just want to know if you might be able to give us some updates to myself and my listeners about that.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the patients that we were enrolling for cancer?
Yes. On the press release you put out, I think, last week or something like that.
So the press release mainly talk about that the FDA had a conference call with us again, and they indicated that we are all good with your biologic license applications to be filed for your final approval. However, because the combination therapy was done with 350 milligram, and we just told the world of 700 milligram has a better efficacy, they wanted us to give some data from our monotherapy to strengthen our BLA for combination therapy and switch that to 700 milligram. So this is a very exciting thing that the FDA allow us to have higher dose approval potential without doing the whole trial over with a higher dose. They recognize the patients in that study, some of them, about 20-some patients out of 52, were in very dangerous situation. They had 3-class or 4-class resistance. So they had no more regimens available to them, or very, very limited regimens. So when we gave them Pro 140, they could have deadly disease if we stop giving them Pro 140. So FDA wants to give us a bridge to have this product available without making us go through another 3-4 years of study, which we announced that. And in other indications, we are hoping to start those indications very soon also.
Very good, very good. One of the questions I had, what distinguishes your company from other biotechs that you think in 2019?
Well, if you look at Gilead, for example, and their stock, let's just say around $65, how many people think by the end of the year they will have 10 times that value, which is $650 million? Then look at our company, Pro 140, leronlimab with CytoDyn, which our website is cytodyn.com. They can verify all the things that we are telling everybody. How many people would think that when you're ready to file your biologic license application, and instead of losing money every year, you're about to be a revenue small pharmaceutical yourself, how many people would think that this stock will be 10 times, which is $5? Well, beside that, only our first approval, we got many other things, and that's in cancer and GVHD, and we believe we're going to make a lot of noise, and we're going to have a tremendous 2019, and I don't think any stock could match us. That's my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion.
My guest today is Dr. Nader Pourhassan. He is the director and president and CEO of CytoDyn, Inc. You can find him on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol CYDY. Again, my personal opinion also, I think the stock price around 52, 53 cents is definitely a buy here, and it's undervalued. That being said, what is your price projection for 2019, if you might be able to enlighten us?
So usually as a CEO of a biotech company, you do not want to give price estimate. However, I would just refer everybody to the third-party report that came out on us, saying the potential sales for our first approval is $1.2 billion, and now that we changed the price of the product, it's about $3 billion, and our monotherapy has potential of $10 billion worth of sales. If you do those numbers and multiply by 8 or 9 the revenue that could be generated, which is a normal multiplier, those numbers become astonishing. So I just don't like to give any numbers out.
I appreciate that. In closing here, what would you want my listeners to take away from this interview?
Well, please check out www.cytodyn.com, and don't miss on this opportunity, in my opinion, to just check us out and make a decision for yourself if this is the real good investment for you or not.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nader, for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to have you on here. I wish you nothing but continued success. Hopefully you'll come back on in 30 or 40 days and give us an update on your company.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by Uptick Newswire, LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are those of the guests and those of the respective companies they represent, and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Uptick Newswire. Uptick Newswire encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional. The guests of this program may have paid for its distribution and are not directly affiliated with Uptick Newswire or this station.